So alongside this conscious and unconscious abduction experiences, I would also see craft. So I would see spacecraft, UFOs in the sky at night. And my friendship group at the time, I had two other friends who were very open to this kind of thing. And when we would go out at night together, we would see these craft in the sky. So as young people do, we would try and tell our friends, and we would try and bring other people along with us. And whenever we brought anyone else along, nothing would happen. We would see absolutely nothing in the sky at night. It was only when it was the three of us. And we used to do this all the time. We would go to Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh. That's a real hotbed of galactic activity. We would go there at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, multiple times a week. And it got to the point where we had built what felt like relationships with craft. So we would arrive and we'd be like, right, we're here. And then they would show up, right? So we had experienced it, like so many amazing experiences with craft, different types of craft, some that materialize and dematerialize, some that look very sort of solid, and others that look very sort of undulating, like almost like a plasma kind of liquid. And one particular experience was me, and it was just me and one other of those friends. And we had this craft fly literally right over the top of our heads on Arthur's Seat. And we were quite terrified, right, by this experience. And I just remember ducking and like lowering my head and feeling this like energy just go right over the top, right? And this kind of thing would happen regularly, whether we were in Edinburgh, once we rented a house in the Highlands. This was years later, and we were able to call craft. We were able to telepathically communicate with them, right? And people are doing this across the planet right now. This isn't like unusual. It's unusual to a degree, but it's becoming more and more commonplace that we're realizing that there is this deep connection with other beings, right? And so simultaneous to my abduction experiences, my encounters with craft and UFO, I was also experiencing an intense amount of entity attacks, to the point where there was times where I literally would run out of my house. I had a little flat that I lived in on my own, and I would literally run out of my flat because it was so overwhelming being in there. It was like a galactic highway of information. I would hear beings calling my name. I would just sense things around me, some very negative beings as well. And it was really distressing, right? And it took me to being able to connect with certain teachers, to being able to connect with a particular shamanic practitioner, to understand what was actually happening to me, because I knew that I wasn't crazy. I knew that I wasn't, this wasn't like a mental health issue. This was very real, what I was experiencing. And so through these connections with different teachers, they were able to explain to me, you are a bridge. You are here as a being who is to support others in connecting with these higher forms of cosmic intelligence. And the more you own it, the less these terrible things are going to keep happening to you. So it did take me a number of years to be like, okay, I get it. Like I've got the message. But when I wouldn't accept it, I would have the craziest things happen. So I would have times where I'd be just sitting with like normal people, and I would see their faces shapeshift and morph into reptilian beings. And it was priming me. It was like, Courtney, this is your mission on Earth, to be some kind of a bridge or, interloper between different collectives and groups, some who may have at times had more negative intentions for humanity, others which don't, but you're here to work with all of them. So you need to wake up to this, right? So the more I would ignore it, the more intense it would get, and the more it would feel like I was being slapped in the face constantly by these experiences. So once I then, learned to accept it, which of course took time, I was then able to really bridge and build relationship with these beings, because that is at the heart of all of this, is to build relationship, right? In the same way that we build relationships with other humans.